Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Hi, Rich Pisano from Digitally Fearless, and today I'm going to do a little photo manipulation from the old song, Would You Like to Swing on a Star, Carry Moonbeams Home in a Jar, or Would You Rather Be a Mule? Oops, I'm not supposed to sing that. I hope it's not too much for Google to ban me, but I'm in a little bit of a weird mood, but I just thought this would be a little bit of fun. So let's get started. So let's start with a new document. The document I chose was 12 by 18 at 144. You really should choose, if you're going to do print, you should choose 300. But for this tutorial, 144 is fine. And if you're doing it for the web, you can actually go down to 72. So I brought in a bunch of photos, and I'll show you how I brought in one of them. I just did stock photos in pixels, and I chose star. And I'll bring in this one just to show you how I did the first one. And that's the star one. And I actually stretched it. And I didn't want these trees to show, so I just brought them way down like that. And also this line here, I pulled it out like that. And so that's what I ended up with. And I'm going to lock that into place so I don't move it anymore. Whoops, I'm sorry. I'll call this stars. No, I'll call it background actually. And I'll lock it so that I can't move it. From this point on, I don't want to move that, and it's good. So let's get back to where we are. And here are the other photos. In fact, that was the stars one, and I'm going to delete that because I already have it. And now I found this swing, and I'm going to bring that one up to the top and show you. So I found this guy on a swing when I looked up swing, and it wasn't a great coloring on it. I had a lot of problems, so what I'm going to do is I have to mask him out, but I tried using the selection brush tool, but it didn't work very well, and I'll show you what I mean. Because of the coloration. Well, maybe it's going to work now. Let's see. I had some problems with some of him. Oh, actually, I'm doing okay. See that? Sometimes you do something and you don't realize it works later on. And so I'll use the Alt key to get rid of in between here. Let me go really small and bring a close-up. And the Alt key, really small again. And I could fine-tune this later, but that's pretty good actually. And I'll bring that one back, and I'll bring this. I need the Alt key in here again. There you go, not bad. Wow, I did it the first time and it didn't work well, so I guess you should always try more than once and see. Here's where I think the browns came into the ground, but this is working pretty well. So yeah, definitely. In fact, I would recommend this brush most of the time. I thought I would have problems, but it's doing okay, except for spots like that, but I can kind of fix that later. Let's go right to here. Let's get this whole area. Let's see how well it does. I'll get rid of the edges afterwards. Okay, now I'm using the Alt key. See if we could smooth out this leg a little bit. Whoops. See, what my problem here was because of the leaves being almost the same color. My legs are looking pretty bad. Okay, so I'm using the Alt key, trying to go down his leg. And this brush has no idea because it can't tell where the leaves start and where the leg ends. I'm just kind of clicking around in the hopes I can get most of it with the Alt key. So I'm kind of tapping, and I'll fix it later once we get the mask on. And let's get the shoes in. Not good, undo that. Let's try that again. I'm kind of clicking instead of dragging, kind of clicking to see what I can catch with it. And then I'll alt click here and alt click here. And you know what I mean. It's always trial and error. And as I always tell you, you should take as much time as you can doing things like this, because I am doing a quick tutorial for you, and you really need to spend much more time on this kind of thing. All right, this is not a great thing right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Quick Mask, I think. And Quick Mask, you can click the letter Q, or you can click up on top here. And with Quick Mask, we can paint the mask on and off. So for example, I have black selected. Black will take away the mask. So I'm trying to smooth this out a little bit with a soft brush. I'm using a soft brush. And I just want to smooth some of this edges out right here. And I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut X to bring it to white and add a little bit of this elbow back. And let's see how we're going to do this. I'll use white here, black, to get rid of. I'm just softening this edge. What you're seeing, the red will be hidden. That's part of the mask. And what you see when you're done, what you're actually seeing is what the boy will look like. No, we don't want to hide that. We want to keep that. So when I'm trying to get rid of, switching from black to white. You notice, trying to get rid of some of this. Like I need right now, I need more of his hair in. So I'm going to switch to white, which brings back his hair. Again, with a very soft brush. If I was using a tablet, this would be so much easier. But I tend not to use the tablet in my tutorials. I have one, but I tend not to use it because many of you don't have tablets. So I'd rather try and show you how I work with a mouse, just so you could see how I do it, because most of you are working with a mouse. So I'm just playing around here, getting as close as I can. Because of the background, we will not have to worry so much about these edges because the background is dark and you won't even see them. But I'm trying to get close enough to, I'm holding the space bar and dragging, that's how I'm moving around, and I let go of the space bar and I'm back to my tool. So I'm kind of trying to, I gotta get smaller, trying to soften this, whoops, made a mistake. Trying to soften this up a little. Nope, I need to be in black right now. Black gives you the mask, there we go. And even the string I'm not even worried about because I'll show you a trick. But let me just kind of smooth out these bumps on the sleeve. And you get the idea. So I might speed some of this up. I'm almost done actually. I won't have to speed it up because I know it's not great, but because it's on a black, dark, very dark background, I don't think you're going to see any of this. So maybe I'll just keep it going. There you go. And we got to switch to white so we can get some of this back in. That's the rope right to here. And that's okay. And this rope looks like it goes like that. And that's not bad. Let's just smooth out a little bit here. Oops. And then his legs were pretty bad, so I'm going to smooth them out too. Whoa, that's really bad. Let me give me back some of his legs here. And then let's see if we can cut some of this out in a smooth way. Again, I'm using a mouse, so it's not easy. If I was using a tablet, you would just be drawing. So this is not easy to do this way. And back to white so we can get some of his leg here. If I had to do it again, I would have done it. I said this was going to be tough. I would have done it probably just painting the original with the quick mask, because I'm basically doing that anyway. I could have used a pen tool also. So let's get some of this back. Some of his shoe. It's good for you to see this though, because it really does take time. And I am not taking as much time as I should. I'm just basically giving a rough group here. And let's bring these legs back to where they need to be. And now that I could see where the leg is, I'll just smooth that out right there. And let's bring this part back a little bit, and then we'll pull it out so we can see where the edge of the leg is. And now I'm going to switch back to black and get rid of some of this edge softly. And let's get real small and see if we can get some of this rope back. And now for this top part, I'm going to take my brush, give it about the size of the rope like that, and I'm going to click once, hold shift, and click again. And I'm going to do it here too. Click once, hold shift, and click again. Because you could do that with any paintbrush, and you don't have to be in masks at all. And I'm going to do it up here also. Let's go back up. Let's go back further so I could see. Okay, so a little closer than that, and I want to move down. So I want to go to here. I may have to get close. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to click once right there on his finger, and then I'm going to drag to the top right here and hold shift and click again. And that's where the rope will show. So we'll do that again. Click once, go to the top, hold shift, find the other rope. We're not using the whole thing, but find wherever you can find, I'd say right there. And then let's take a look. And I think we've done it. So now we take the quick mask off and we hit mask. And we deselect. And there you go. And because he's on a dark background, he looks okay. It's not like perfect. You should spend more time, but he looks pretty good on the dark background. So, okay, so now we have the guy swinging, and let's put him maybe there. That's not bad. Let's try that. So next thing I want to do after I got the guy swinging is I want to take a add a new pixel layer on top. Take a really soft brush, which I think I'm on already, but let me check. Let's pick something like that. And on the paintbrush, let's even go softer than that, I think. Okay, we want the brush to be large. I'm using my right bracket and making this really large like that. Oh, not that large. I'd say that's pretty good. And I'm going to just click once. Maybe one more time. Okay, I like that. And I could change the opacity a little if I want to. But I'm going to leave it bright because to me that's the star now. And I could shape this if I want different ways. I can make it a little bit higher that way. Almost like it's going off to the sky. And that's the really bright star. And I'm going to take away a little of this rope right here so it looks like it's coming right out of the star. So I'll go back to the guy and click on the mask, And if I paint the mask with black, I'm going to make the brush much smaller. See how I'm hiding the rest of that rope. So I think that looks pretty good at this point. So now I want to change his color to match the sky. So here's a trick that I came up with. I'm going to hide that, and I'm going to hide him. I'm going to do File. I'm going to export just the sky as a JPEG. The quality can be low, it doesn't really matter, we're just using it for color, and I'm going to export it. It's a temporary picture I'm using, and I'm putting it in my tutorials. I'm calling it Swing on a Star, and I'm just going to put 4 color. That's all I care about. I'm going to delete this later. So that's that. Okay, so I'm going into the swatch palette, and I'm going to do Create Palette from Image. And I'm going to select the image, and remember the 4-color JPEG we saved? I'm going to open that up, and it gives you 5 colors. You can get as many as you want, but I am going to change this number to 3 colors, and I'm going to just hit Create. And there's 3 colors right up here. And so now I can bring back the boy, which is on the swing. I can even bring back the star, it doesn't matter. And on this boy now I am going to, or man I should say, on the swing, I'm going to choose Adjustment, Gradient Map. And Gradient Map, the red is the dark, the green is the midtone, and the blue is the light. So I'm going to select the red and click on Color and drag this over to the darkest color, and then click here to apply it. And then I'm going to pick the green, which is the mid-tone, click the color, drag this to the middle color, which is this one, and click to apply it. And then I'll drag this one, click color, and drag it to the light, the highlight color, and click. And so now we have that, which is the gradient overlay, and we're going to choose overlay or soft light. I think actually soft light works better in this case, so I'll choose soft light. So now he matches much better. I could change I'm going to lower the opacity. That's before. I'm going to give him just a little more because we want him in that bluish dark sky. So that's where we are there. And then the next thing I want to do is we're going to take the jar. I just looked up mason jar. I'm going to look at this mason jar right now. And what I will do now is shrink it down. Obviously, we don't need the mason jar to be that big. Let's just keep it there for now. And we need to mask this out. We need just the jar part. So let's see, which one should we use? We could try the selection brush. See if we can get actually I'm going to do it on the inside. Let's see if we can get this selected with the brush, mask it, and deselect. And it's really not a good selection. Let's see. That's a pretty lousy selection because I'm looking at it right now and I see so many mistakes here. So there is another trick you can use. I can go back with the mask, but there is another trick. It's called the smudge. And if you're on the mask, you could kind of smudge the edges. I know it's a dirty trick. And for this particular one, because of what I'm using it for, I could just smudge. Oops, not too much now. I could bring some of this down. Again, I'm working with a mouse. I'm having a lot of trouble working with a mouse with this one, but smudge pushes things into place, drags like that. You see, if I wanted more of that, I can add. And whoops, that one I don't want on the bottom. So, and also on the top here, I could smudge a little like that, make it really small and smudge out a little bit. And when I am making this so small, and I'm embarrassed at what I'm doing here because I should really be focusing on this, but the videos would end up so long if I really had to do it the way I want to. So let's just stick with this. So that's the jar, and we want to shrink the jar down. And because would you like to swing on a star and carry moonbeams home in a jar? So I need to get the moonbeams in a jar. So some of you are probably too young to even know that that's what I'm doing here, and that's what the song is. And I wish I could play it, but I'm sure if I try that, Google will stop me from playing it. So you can look up, I think it's Bing Crosby. All right, so now this jar needs to definitely be a little more see-through. So I'm going to take that jar and hit the gear up here and use blend range. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull away the whites from the jar, and then I'm going to click on off linear because I want to curve this up. I want to bring back some of the white like that so that the jar looks like it's a little bit see-through. Another thing I want to do is remember when we did the gradient map on the swing guy, the guy on the swing? Well, we want to get the same coloration so for the jar, so because it's in the same atmosphere. So I'm going to click on this gradient map to Control or Command J to duplicate it, and I'm dragging that up and clipping it onto the jar. So it now has more of a blue effect. See, that was before and that's after. So it has more of the effect that it's in the same space. So that's how we get that. Now I want to get some moonbeams. So how do I get moonbeams? So let's add a new layer and get a white brush, a very soft white brush again. And let's get a close-up of the jar. And I'm just going to, with this very soft brush, I think I'll even lower the opacity a tiny bit. With this very soft brush, I'm just going to click once, like that. And I might even, because it's moonbeam, I might stretch it just a little. And then I'll go to effects, and I'm going to do a color overlay, and maybe a pale yellow, which I think that looks pretty good actually. So now I have moonbeam, and let's do a couple of them. I'm doing Control Command J and Control Command J and Control Command J, so I have more than one, and maybe a couple of different shapes, maybe one facing one way. How about this one being very long, like that, and this one like that, and maybe this one, I don't know, that one maybe that way. And maybe some are a little brighter than the others, so one way to get them brighter is to duplicate it, and just like that, that one's brighter, and maybe the one on the bottom will duplicate, and that's brighter. And then we'll take all of these and group them and call them moonbeams. And let's go back out and see where we are. So that looks pretty good right now. I think I'm okay with that. Now let's do a curves adjustment on everything. Let's do adjustment curves, and I think I want to just pop it a little. Oops, I'm sorry. We want the curves to be on top of everything like that. So we're going to do a little bit of a curves adjustment for there, and then we're going to take this one and bring it down a little bit. I just want to have more of a dramatic look. So this is the before. See how dull that is? And that's after. And I think it maybe even a little bit darker. Let's see, like that. I like doing S curves because S curves really sharpen everything for me. Just more clarity for me. And not so much. Hold on. Let's do there, and maybe a tiny bit up. Okay, I think we're good there. So now comes the fact that since he has a star up here, he should be that light should be reflecting off of his body. So what we have to do now is we're going to do layer, merge visible, which will take every single thing we're looking at and make it a new layer with that picture. So here's a pixel layer. Everything else can be turned off. It doesn't even matter. Everything can be completely turned off. And then what we also want to do then is duplicate that. Control or Command J. So we have two of these. Now let's hide the first one. Take the second one, and we're going to do curves again, but this time we're going to go completely off the wall and brighten this up, like something like that, maybe. Way too bright. And then that's okay. We're okay with that. So that's what we're doing there. And then the second one, we're going to add a mask to this. On the mask, remember that black reveals, black shows through, and white hides. So this mask is completely white right now. So what I'm going to do is with black and a soft brush, and in fact, I am going to bring the opacity maybe down to 50%, around there. And with a soft brush, maybe even more, because I'd rather paint slowly into it. Now you see how the rope is here? Let's get a little closer. We're going to bring this down. We want this rope to be lit up more. So what it's doing now as I'm painting is it's getting lighter and lighter because I'm showing through to this layer below. Remember that bright layer? And that's what I'm doing. I'm painting so you could see through to the bright layer. So that's what I'm trying for right there. And then see his face? Maybe we need to put more than 20. Let me raise the opacity a little. And see how he's getting brighter? And his hands should be brighter too, because especially on top here, because that's where the light is shining through. And right up to his shoulder, of course, at least to here. And try and keep the brush as much as you can, right, without doing the sky behind it. And I'm going to bring up the opacity even more because it seems not to be. Okay, that's because, see, the face has to have the brightest of all. I'm clicking on it, I'm rubbing. And also his knees. Don't you think his knees, there's got to be reflection on the knees here. And even on this jar, should be lit up a little more. And maybe the bottom of his sneakers, if the tips are showing. And I think that's not too bad. What do you think? I don't know. So would you like to swing on a star? Uh-oh, am I in trouble for doing that? And carry moonbeams home in a jar. Oh God, now you're really going to turn this off. Okay, so remember, so now we have the swing on a star, and I'll put a little bit of lyrics in, but we're also, there's a part of the song that says, or would you rather be a mule? So we're going to change his head to a mule, but first let's just do some text right on top, which will say, let's see, would you like to swing on a star? And let's center that text and put that up here. And I don't like the font, so let's just go down until we find something. That's not bad. Let's see. I like that. Would you like this? What is that called? Allen, whatever that is. I've never used Allen before. I didn't know I had Allen. But I'm going to put that. Would you like to swing on a star? And then I'm going to duplicate that. And I'll bring that down here and give it, let's say, an outer glow. And let's go like that. Do I want an inner glow? I don't even know. Let's see. Inner glow. And get rid of outer glow. Okay, what the heck. You know what? Let's do it. And then we're going to say, carry moonbeams home in a jar. And we'll make that one go to the left. Oops, first we got to select it and then go to the left. And how about like that? I don't really like this coloring or how it's working, so let's change the font to a white instead. And let's go back to effects. And let's go to just outer glow and let's see if we can get this to work. Like that maybe. Intensity. Okay, I can live with that. So carry moonbeams home in a jar. So that's where we are. Would you like to swing on a star, carry moonbeams home in a jar? I'm going to shrink that one down because the jar is pretty small. Next thing I want to do is, would you rather be a mule? So I'll bring this mule right to the top. And I found this picture just by typing in mule in stock. So we're going to select this mule right now. And let's see how well we can do here with selection. He should be fairly easy here. And mask. And deselect. And for our purposes, this will do. I don't like it, but it'll do. So we're going to make it small because we have to have his head. Oops. Maybe a little bigger than that. I want his head to be covered. And of course, a mule's head is bigger than a human head. And then I also need to get a neck on this mule, and we need to put some shadow. Don't forget the shadow. That's really important stuff too. So what I'm now going to do one more time is rasterize this because I don't want the mask on there anymore. So I'm going to rasterize and trim. So now it's one picture because I want to clone stamp, and if I clone stamp with the mask on, it won't show. So I'm going to hold Alt and then take this part and try and start bringing down. Don't worry if it's going over the collar. I could fix that after. And I want to keep going back and forth here. And maybe some of this dark stuff. Oh no, not too much dark, because then it's going to show up that way. I'm just going to keep going like this and play a little, maybe a little up here. Something like that. Okay, and now I'm going to lower the opacity. And I'll actually put a mask on him now. And I will paint with the mask with a paintbrush. And I want to get rid of anything out here, and especially where the collar is. Let's just make sure wherever the collar is does not have him there, like that. And now let's bring it back to see where we are. Okay, we'll go back to the mask. And now we'll just kind of play to get his neck to fit into the collar here, like that. And we'll play like that. That's good. And then I'm going to do a little dodge and burn. Actually, he needs a little more. I'm going to drag him down here, and then that's not bad. And a little hair could show over because that's what would happen when he has a lot of hair. So now I'm going to do a little dodge and burn here. Actually, burn. I want to add a little bit more shadow to where we put the neck. So I'm going to do a little bit of darkness here. Let me lower the opacity and just do a little bit of burn right there, because that's where the shadow would have been on the neck. And now one more thing, we're going to add another pixel layer. We'll bring it underneath the mule, and with a black paintbrush, very soft brush, in fact I'm going to make it a 0, and I can do full opacity because I can lower it after. So now with a soft brush, I'm going to start painting where I think his shadow would have been. I'm kind of tapping here. Like, if you're thinking, let me pull out to show you what I'm talking about. If you're pulling out and you're looking, because of the sky, the light's shining down, that would be kind of where his head would be. So we're doing that, and then we're going to go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. We could have done it anyway. I'm just really going to blur this like that, and I think that's okay. I could even lower the opacity if we want, like something like that, which I think works. And I would just add maybe one more. I'm going to duplicate this. Would you like to swing on a star? And take away the other one, and take away the moonbeams, and then change this to I know I'm crazy. Or would you, can I sing while I'm typing so Google won't get mad? Would you rather be a mule? That was real pretty. Okay, and so that's it. So I hope you like this tutorial. It's a little strange. Um, I just tried to have a little fun and just pick an old time song, and it was in my head. Don't ask me why it's in my head, but I guess it was my childhood. So I hope you like this. This is crazy. I hope you like this tutorial, and if you did, please click like and subscribe, and please tell others about my channel so they can learn Affinity Photo, and you can help my channel grow. So thank you again, and have a great day. Bye.